We should be live. What is happening, sports fans? It is your main man, Matt, from the TFS 5-pack, rocking it solo Sunday, June 6th. I know Ryan was busy handling NBA this morning, and he's got a bartending gig he is about to head out to. So you got me solo for MLB. I love these Sunday slates. I'm excited to dive in with you guys. And we'll try to keep it short and sweet because I know people got things to do on Sundays. So let me screen share and we'll dive right in. And I know every time I make these solo videos, like one person, as soon as I post them, always comes on and gives it a thumbs down. Hey, you can't please everyone, so it is what it is. All righty. So for a big Sunday slate, we don't have like the greatest pitching options. There's certainly some good option guys that are in play, but we don't have like, the stable of 10, 12, 8 guys that we feel really comfortable using. Starting at the top, Corbin Burnes has been awesome this year. He wasn't great against the Tigers last time out. Still came away with 20-plus DK points. Didn't even get the win. I think he's the top option on today's slate. I'm not scared of the matchup with Arizona. I don't think it's the greatest matchup in the world. He's averaging the most DK points on the slate. After him and Bauer, those guys are 10 more than anyone else, which is pretty wild. I think he's the top guy, especially with Bauer in a tough spot in Atlanta. Bauer, for my money, is still the best overall pitcher on the slate. Man, I mean, he's been solid this year, no doubt about it. He hasn't been like, the ace of all aces. He hasn't been Jacob deGrom-like. So on many slates in this spot, with 10 games, I don't know if I'd be looking here at 10.7 in Atlanta. However, the drop-off after Bauer is pretty real. So hard not to at least take a long look at the top two guys. I think I prefer Burnes as of, if I had to choose between them, but they're pretty close. They're both just wildly in play. All righty. So after that, we got my boy Sandy Alcantara. I'm an Alcantara fan. He's good. It's tough to want to spend $9,500 on him, though, with Bauer and Burnes right there. I mentioned it, a minute ago. He's averaging 10 less DK points than either of those top guys. Well, that's not the end-all, be-all. That means something. Pittsburgh isn't a good offense, but they don't strike out a lot. All that said, like, he's too expensive, et cetera, he's still in play for me because the drop-off after each of these guys is significant. So, Alcantara, in my mind, is the third best pitcher on the slate. It's not the greatest spot in the world, but we're never afraid to pick on guys against Pittsburgh. That's for damn sure. Dylan Cease coming off a rough one in Cleveland. I mean, this is who Dylan Cease is. He's got really, really good stuff. When he's on, he can dominate. When he's not on, he's going to get hit up. So I imagine he gets a good amount of love. He's in a good match against Detroit. I like him here. Probably a little bit more leery than most. We saw Detroit, get to Giolito a little bit yesterday. They've been good, just not good. They've been better over the past couple weeks. So while it's still, one of, if not the best matchup in baseball, guys like Cease, if they're not locating, can get, Cease can get into his own head and get hit around by a team like Detroit. Again, if his stuff's not on. Luis Garcia, man, I'm really waiting for the other shoe to drop here because this guy never projected to be like a top-of-the-line rotation guy. His stuff is good, but not amazing, and he is just dominating right now. You see the game log, in tough matchups at that. That said, like I mentioned, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. I think he's got a bad outing coming soon. I'm not looking at Garcia personally here. I don't think many people will be. So if you like him and you are a believer in him, I can get on board with a low-owned Garcia, just considering the fact that we don't have a great options on this slate. Me personally, though, I think I'm more interested in a couple of these Toronto bats if forced to choose. Not saying Toronto's like my favorite stack on the board or anything like that, but if forced to choose, I think I'm about the Toronto bats over using Garcia. After that, John Gant. I mean, it's the same story with Gant. Like, he's got good stuff, but he struggles to locate. puts a lot of guys on base. I mean, 3 walks in 3 of 4 starts. In the other one, he has 1, and then the one before that, he has 6. I can't use Gant, but I am starting to not really want to use bats against him that much because he doesn't give up a ton of hard hits. I still think that like some of the Cincinnati guys are in play because, Gant isn't impervious to getting hit, and he's another guy. Like whenever you see a whip and an ERA about the same, I imagine he's got some regression coming. DV, Vince Velasquez, coming off a rough outing last time out against the Reds. Prior to that, he was chalked against Miami. Listen, Velasquez is a classic. You never know what you're going to get on any given day. Much like Gant, he walks a lot of guys. He also, unlike Gant, gets hit hard, but he also, unlike Gant, strikes out a lot of guys. So much riskier than Gant, probably. Higher upside, lower floor. I don't think you're crazy to use Velasquez here, but man, on a big slate like this, he's not even that cheap. Probably not where I want to spend my money personally. Steven Matz, almost impossible to get to him today against Houston. Didn't he face Houston recently? He was actually not bad in that start. They got to him late in that game, but certainly not really looking at him here. Wade Miley, no, I'm not looking to use lefties against St. Louis, really. Max Fried, he's in play for me. Listen, definitely a tough matchup. Dodgers, you never really want to go out of your way to pick on. I'm a Fried fan, though. I'm a believer in his stuff. He's very, very affordable at $7,200. The Dodgers have always been more susceptible to left-handed pitching. He's on my short list. Definitely prefer in tournaments, and there's real risk. But, he didn't have a great start against Washington. Okay, he was really good in the 3 before that. He's, again, wildly in play for me. If I'm making one lineup right now, it might be one of the top 2 guys and Fried. And I'm leaning Burns there. You can also just pair Burns and Bauer together. But I think I like the Burns-Fried pairing as of right now. After that, no thanks. I think you can actually look at some Milwaukee bats. I know Yelich has some nice history against Caleb Smith. They'll probably be owned, though, because they're cheap. Voth, no thanks. Definitely no thanks to Urena. Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. Yeah, I can get on board with Singer here also. Minnesota really doesn't impress me much. They've obviously got some good hitters, and they're still not going to be surprised if they turn it on, but they haven't to this point. Singer's a good young arm. He probably gets a little more love than he deserves because of the price point, and I do prefer Fried, but I don't think either of the top guys are locks. And if you want to spend all the way down and punt, with Singer and Fried, sure you can get basically any bet you want. After that, I think a couple guys that are worth mentioning. I'm not buying what Jorge Lopez is selling, but we saw Minnesota as chalk against him the other day. All he did was go out, strike out 7, put up 21.3 DK points. Didn't even get the decision. So really good start from Lopez there. I think the Indians are in play against him, but they're another team. They don't have a great offense, so be a little bit leery, I would say. And then Dane Dunning. You wish he had a longer leash. Risky, but he's a better pitcher than his $4,900 price tag implies. Tampa strikes out a hell of a lot. So another one. Tampa's good, so they can definitely get to him here. But at his price point, you just don't need that much. So he's on the short list as well, I would say, after going through it. My short list personally is going to be the top 3 guys, I guess the top 4 guys. I probably won't use Cease, but he's certainly in play. Fried, the Singer, and then Dunning. So 7 guys I think are in play, obviously to varying degrees. Some we're going to like more than others, no doubt about it. All right, looking ahead to some bats. So we've got Miami against Pittsburgh. It's Sunday, so a lot of times these day games after night games will have weird lineups. be on the lookout for that. We don't have many lineups yet, so it's just something we'll have to kind of wait and see. I'm not looking to pick on Alcantara here. Just no thanks. I don't think Chad Kuhl's that good. I don't think Miami is like the worst stack in the world. Actually, a guy I'm interested in, Jesus Aguilar. Monster game yesterday. He just looked locked in. His home run was crushed, and then after that, he just seemed like he got a hit in every at bat. He's a notoriously streaky hitter, so as a one-off or in a stack, I can get on board. Jose Devers, presumably leading off, took the 0 for yesterday. Not excited about it, but leading off at 2,500, don't mind it at all. And for those wondering, he is Rafael Devers' cousin. So the more you know. Jazz Chisholm hitting in the middle of this lineup now. Wouldn't be surprised to see him back up top. Yeah, he's in play also. Probably more of a guy I'm looking to use if I'm stacking, but don't mind it. And then you got their outfield. There's all three of these guys. On a smaller slate, I could see going to Miami again today. They were pretty good yesterday, not amazing. I think they're in a fine spot again this afternoon. So, again, they'll probably get no love. They're not the most optimal stack on the slate. I probably won't even use them, but they're not in the worst spot against Cool. And the weather's hot all over, so keep that in mind. Washington and Philadelphia, we got Vince Velasquez against Austin Voth. I mean, Voth isn't great. I don't think he's the worst pitcher in the world. Philly's probably going to get too much love. That said, I mean, they're definitely in play here. Bryce Harper's back. He's very affordable. Stole a bag yesterday. He got you 14 points, didn't homer. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Philly guys are definitely in play here. Starting with Harper for sure. Rhys Hoskins, they're not the same price. We'll have to wait and see their lineup. Yeah, I think their whole stack's in play. I don't think it's a bad idea if you want to pick on Voth. That said, it's probably not for me. I don't think Voth is awful. I think they get a little too much love. I'm not excited about their offense. I probably don't land there. All right, as far as the Washington side goes, check something real quick, guys. The BVP against Velasquez. So in 78 at-bats, the Nationals are hitting 218 off Velasquez. A couple guys that have some good numbers. Josh Bell's 2-5 with a homer, and Ryan Zimmerman 6-14 with a homer. So whichever one of those guys makes the lineup, I think you can potentially take a look at. Trey Turner's 0-12. So I'm not like not using him because of that, but I'm certainly not using him because of that. That's for damn sure. And then Alex Avila, if he makes the lineup, he's 3 for 3 with a bomb and a walk. So, again, you could probably do worse. He's 2,900. All in all, probably not a game I load up too much on. I mean, these offenses aren't bad. They're not the greatest in the world, but they're not the worst, certainly. So, I don't think it's the craziest idea to use offenses in this game. But I think a lot of people will look at these pitchers and want to pick on them, and I think there's better spots. Cleveland and Baltimore. So Cleveland got going yesterday. They got to Means a little bit, then he got injured. I think he left the game. Well, I know he left the game earlier. I think he left injured. Brought in old friend Adam Plutko. The Indians ended up putting up 10 runs yesterday. And against Jorge Lopez, I think they're definitely in play again today. Damn, they are a little bit more expensive than I'd like. Bobby Bradley, though, back in our lives, one of the Indians' top power-hitting prospects. Pinch hit as a double. Pinch hit yesterday and doubled. Not going to be surprised to see him in the lineup. If so, I mean, he obviously helps a lot. 2K, he's got big power. This is a good spot for him against Jorge Lopez. Pablo Lopez. Why do I always do this? Jorge Lopez. Excuse me. I'm a huge Pablo Lopez fan, and I always confuse them. I always confuse Jorge and Pablo. Again, excuse me. As far as anyone else from Cleveland goes, yeah, you got J-Ram as their top piece, of course. He's not, red hot right now, but kind of seems like the big game's coming. He's in a great spot today. Let's see what his BVP looks like against. Nope. Lopez. Jorge Lopez. These guys have to have faced a bunch. Well, actually, not really. Nothing much to take out of it. He's 2-7 against Jorge. So, again, the Indians don't have much experience against Lopez. I don't really take much into that at all. So, as a stack, I think Cleveland's in play. Sorry, I skipped over a few guys. We'll have to wait and see on their lineup. Cesar Hernandez is really expensive at $5K. Owen Miller, man, he's struggling. He's struggled since he got called up, but he's 2,300. He fits the stack. Eddie Rosario, Harold Ramirez, Bradley Zimmer. Again, we'll kind of just have to wait to see how their lineup shakes out. Coming off a big day yesterday, I don't mind going right back there. And then the Baltimore side's definitely in play. Kind of just like overlooked Baltimore, but man, they're definitely in play here. Cedric Mullins, monster game yesterday. 5 for 5 with 2 homers. That's really, really impressive. He's having a really, really good year. So I can get on board with him. Our boy Santander. Mountcastle's, red hot right now. Just continues to stay locked in. Yeah, Mountcastle and Mullins in a stack as one-offs. I'm about it. You got Mancini as their top piece. Freddie Galvis probably hitting in the middle of this lineup. Yeah, Baltimore's in play here. Houston and Toronto. So 2 really good offenses against 2 good pitchers. Hard to know exactly who Garcia and Matz are from a pitching perspective, but we do know that the offenses are good here. So, again, I'm not buying what Garcia's selling, but if you are, he's going to be really low owned, and he's not like that expensive. So, I don't hate the play. Like I said, I'm more likely to go to Toronto bats. And then Houston against Matz. They've got to be in play against Matz here. Saw him, a couple weeks ago. Limited sample size, but they're 8 of 23 off of him. Probably a lot of that was in that last game. They're expensive, but definitely in play. I don't know. Match isn't a guy usually like I pick on that much. Like I don't think you're crazy to pick on him. Guy like Gurriel, 4,300. He's locked in right now. He's a guy I can definitely get on board with. Probably a cash game guy at 4,300. Yeah, I think both sides are in play for me. In cash games, I'd lean Houston. In tournaments, I'd lean Toronto because I think they're going to be lower owned. A lot of these Toronto guys, even though they're righties, they crush righties. So I think the stack's very low owned today, and they're good, man. They're expensive, but this is what I was talking about. If you want to punt on, use Singer and Fried, I mean, yeah, it's doable because again, Toronto is expensive. I like both Gurriels. I think both Gurriels could go yard today in that same game. That's my long shot bold call today. Both Gurriels are going yard in Toronto today. All right, Atlanta and the Dodgers. Again, I'm not looking at offense from this game. I don't think first off, from the Dodgers side, they're going to be a better spot on paper. Turner's really affordable against the lefty. I'm sure they've got other guys, Chris Taylor, Bellinger. I mean, even Betts is really, really affordable. So I like Fried. There's aren't, a good look on paper. And if you don't like Fried, you can't look to some of these pieces. They're obviously in play here. Just not where I'm going to go. Because like I said, I'm going to plant my flag on Max Fried today and hope that he pitches well at 7,200. I'm not looking at the Atlanta bats either. However, they're 1-2 of Acuna and Freeman. Both these guys crush good pitching. Freeman finally got going the past couple of days, and he's had a couple kind of seeing eye hits and bloop singles. And I think the big game is coming soon for him. And Acuna, man, even yesterday, didn't do anything, but late in the game, got a single, stole 2 bags. All of a sudden, that's 13 points right there. So, I mean, he's just, him and Tatis are 2 best, players in baseball right now in my mind. And that bodes true from a fantasy perspective as well. So I like the 1-2 of Acuna Freeman as a very, very contrarian, not too as a very contrarian two-man stacking at the popular Bauer. They're expensive, so I wouldn't like sell my soul for them. But that's another one. Like if you're using two cheaper pitchers, or even if you're using like, let's see, we go Fried and Burns. I mean, then you're probably not using those guys then. So that'd be like something if you go Singer, Fried, and you wanted to go like, just so I can do this for you guys. You want to go like Acuna, Freeman. So this isn't, you wouldn't use Vlad here, but this is where you could go like Semien, Bo Bichette. I mean, even still, like now it's not like you have like unlimited money. I mean, Toronto's expensive. So yeah, I think that whoever you want, if you want the Toronto guys, Bryce Harper, but you guys can see what I'm talking about. I think that spending down on pitcher is viable because hitters are expensive. Alrighty. Arizona and Milwaukee. Burns, obviously, I think the top pitcher on the slate, so not looking at Arizona bats. We saw them have a good day against Woodruff in the Milwaukee bullpen yesterday. Is it impossible to happen today? No, but very unlikely and probably not where I want to plant my flag. Even Ketel Marte is more expensive now, so not for me. The Milwaukee side, I think, is in play. Again, they'll probably get a little bit too much love, but Yelich looks good right now. I think he's 3 of 5 with 2 homers off of Caleb Smith. 3 of 6 with 2 homers off of Caleb Smith. Avi's 2 of 5 with a bomb. We know Tyrone Taylor can hit some lefties. These guys are affordable. Milwaukee's definitely in play here. I see no reason why they wouldn't be. So I lump them in with like Cleveland and Baltimore as stacks we can definitely take a long look at. All righty. Moving on. Detroit and Chicago. So let's see the BVP here. I think Cease gets a lot of love for good reason. He's affordable. Well, he's not that affordable, but he's not expensive, and he's in the best matchup on the slate. Looking at these numbers, Scope is 4 of 10 with 2 bombs off him. Castro's got good numbers. Man, if you're not using Cease, I don't hate using a couple of these Tiger guys. Leverage, I think Cease does get a lot of love. Willie Castro's red hot, and he's only 2 of 5 off of Cease. I was thinking of Harold Castro. He's got good numbers off Cease. So, again, another one we'll have to wait and see what their lineup looks like, but I don't think you're crazy to use some Detroit bats, obviously, if you don't like Cease. And then the White Sox. Thing with Urania. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze for a second. It did not. It ended up not happening. So we move on. The thing about Urania is he's much, much more susceptible to lefties than righties. So not really sure what lefties scare me in this White Sox lineup, except Moncada. 1 of 4, very limited sample size off Urania. I don't know. I don't think the White Sox are a crazy stack because they're really good, and I don't think they get much love. But given how susceptible Urania is to left-handed power, it's hard to want to prioritize like Abreu, Vaughn. I mean, now he's more expensive. Tim Anderson. These guys are all righties, so it's not like they can't get to Urania. But if they were lefties, I'd be a lot more interested. Sure, Jake Lamb will make the lineup today. I think you could do worse as a filler here, but watch for the pinch hit risk. He's also like not that cheap anymore. So I kind of like the idea of the White Sox when I look from a 30,000-foot view. But then when I look closer, it's like I don't really like them. So, yeah, this is my opinion. All righty. Moving on to Minnesota and Kansas City. So this series has been a series that's had some runs. I think Singer's in play, but I don't think Minnesota's stack is crazy at all. Singer is not a guy that's impervious to getting hit at all. They're expensive, so they probably won't get much love, and it's hard to want to prioritize them. But if you're not using Singer, I mean, I think that the Minnesota stack is in play because these guys are good, if not great. You know, it's a very good lineup, if not great lineup, especially when they're all healthy. Ryan Jeffers continues to rake. So if he's in the lineup, 3K, definitely one of the better catcher options. Miguel Sano, yeah, he homered in back-to-back games. And this is what Sano does. He goes over for 2 weeks straight and then homers in 4 or 5 games in a row. So, yeah, I think he's definitely in play here. Am much more looking at the KC side. I think so will everyone. This Bailey Ober, excuse me. He's an interesting case. He's like 6'10", so not many arms like him. He's not great, though, at all. So certainly not the next Randy Johnson, if that's what you're thinking. And KC has been good. They're cheap. You got Carlos Santana at 4,100. How much is Witt? Like 5'4", 5'3". Yeah, he's certainly in play. Brian's boy Hunter Dozier. We'll see if he's back today. And Mondesi, man, he's all the way up at 5'5" now. He hasn't even played in 4 or 5 games, and his price got raised all the way up. So, wowzers. Benintendi monster game yesterday. He's red hot right now, and I've always been a huge Benintendi fan. So, yeah, he's high on the short list. Cash game lock, I would say, at 3,600 right there. After that, we'll just have to wait and see on their lineup, kind of like a lot of these teams. Cincinnati and St. Louis. And the Cincy guys just continue to be way too cheap. Like, I'm just not scared of picking on John Gant. So you got, Cincy's hard to get away from. Jonathan India, one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Check the game log. Leading off now at 3.3K. This is one of the better college hitters at Florida. I know he was a first-round draft pick. The Reds like him a lot. So looks like he's finally starting to come into his own. And then you got Winker and Castellanos at 4,100 apiece, averaging 10.4 DK points a game. I mean, Castellanos is 3 of 8 off Gant. Not much into that. Winker's 2 of 10. I don't care. I mean, these guys are certainly in play here. There doesn't look like they're getting much love either. And the price tags alone have me interested. I know what I said about Gant, that doesn't give up a ton of hard contact and just walks a lot of guys. But like I said, with that whip and ERA, like the same number, he's due for some negative regression. And I'm here for it when the Reds go off. So I don't think it's a team I want to like full stack all over. But man, I like this Stevenson kid. Yeah, they're in play for me. I don't even know how much love they get either because it's such a big slate. You know, they're not facing one of the weaker pitchers. As far as the Cardinals go, I think they're interesting here. I'm not like that big of a Wade Miley fan. I don't think he's garbage. I don't go out of my way to stack against him every time out, but also won't be surprised if the Cardinals have a big game soon. They got power against lefties, that's for sure. Tyler O'Neill, we know he's got power for days. Arenado, he's got good numbers off Miley. 3 singles yesterday.